I'm Eddie Fox. I'm the programme leader for the Master of Landscape Architecture at Manchester Metropolitan University. Lee Wan has been a student here since September 2016, and he has been one of the stronger members of the group of overseas students who joined the course this year. Lee Wan's background is in architecture, and he's come from Taiwan, where he's both worked and studied. I think overall he's probably one of the students who's most successfully adapted to the different challenges we present them with on this course. His background gives him a good range of skills in software and design process and understanding of precedent and how to use that. So that's given him a series of strengths which I think have helped him enormously on the course. But he's adapted those very well to the sort of challenges we set. The course is distinguished by its approach, which is attempts to take a very large-scale geographical area and a sort of set of complex theoretical challenges, and to encourage students to develop their own briefs and their own strategic proposals, which they then test out on individual sites. That can prove very difficult for all of the students, but particularly many of the overseas students find that approach challenging. And I would say Lee Wan of everybody has probably adapted more successfully to that different approach than most. And he's developed his proposal, which is very successfully communicated through a range of different software and media. It's very successfully resolved a sort of international approach, but adapted very well to the specific conditions of the site and the context of the site within the Irwell catchment area in Manchester. So he's dealing with issues of water, flooding, water filtration and cleansing, sewage cleansing, as well as programmatic social and cultural issues. So he's developed a very interesting multi-layered approach to a site in the UK, looking also at vegetation in a very interesting way. And I would say overall it's an extremely well-developed and successful adaptation of a series of ideas to the specific conditions of a site here in Manchester. So overall, really, Lee Wan has done an extremely good job in adapting his skills and previous experience to an extremely different context. He's a very good listener, he's collaborated well with other people, he's certainly explored and got to know this site and the theories he's applied in great depth. And he's communicated them very, very successfully, and is very ambitious in the way he's trying to develop three-dimensional modelling. So I would say overall that Lee Wan is an extremely strong student who will adapt very, very well to a professional context in the landscape profession anywhere he goes, really. I think he's now developing into a very, very competent landscape architect who will be very useful and very able to adapt to almost any professional challenges I can imagine. His international experience previously will also give him a different dimension to the majority of UK students. So I would recommend him highly to all employers, both in the UK and around the world.
My name is Ian Fisher. I'm a senior lecturer in landscape architecture at Manchester Metropolitan University. I'm teaching on the Master of Landscape Architecture course in the second year, in which Lee Wan is enrolled. Lee Wan has been studying here since September 2016. I'm just going to say something about the project first, and then talk about Lee Wan's contribution to the group work and also to his individual work. The project is involved with examining what is called invisible rivers. There are a number of rivers around the Irwell catchment area which are under stress for flooding, etc. And the students have been asked to come up with innovative solutions to solve a number of these problems. So to begin with, the work was group work, and Lee Wan contributed very strongly to the group work. Subsequent to that, he has worked individually and developed a very interesting response to the problems of flooding in a part of the River Irwell. He has great design skills. He's a very thoughtful student, spends a lot of time thinking about his work, looking at precedents, but he's also very good at listening to tutors and then analysing their feedback and response, and then working with that to develop his project further. So his project fits around dealing with flooding in a particular area of the River Irwell, but it uses flooding as a vehicle, as an activator, to develop other landscape insertions. So as well as dealing with the flooding, he's also been looking at the way that sewage treatment can be utilised in a more sustainable way and also in a more productive way. And he's also looked at linking various different areas to create a more holistic landscape. His focus has been on water, but he's been able to use water, as I mentioned, as a sort of catalyst, if you like, to develop a whole range of other elements within his design. I think, having studied in architecture, that has helped him a lot. It's given him a very good understanding of how to apply theory and also to be rigorous in both his development of his design, but also in the technical resolution. I think overall he's a very strong student, and I would recommend him for any position that he's applying for in the future.